I think my favourite writers were probably just all like the kind of big boys of the Western canon. I don't really remember being a very adventurous reader.
I grew up in Kenya, so Binyarwanga Wainaina, definitely. He is a queer Kenyan author, was passed away now. And I remember the first short story by him that I read was Ships in High Transit. And it just made something for me click, his language and his way of telling stories, but also the things that he saw, the kind of the Kenya that he painted was something that was familiar and that I recognized as a teenager. And yeah, it gave me a connection. It was, yeah, he's great. Binyarwanga Wanaina, look him up.
I didn't have one. I read the books that were around. They were mostly my father's. So that's Dostoevsky, Pasternak, Carson McCullers, Mary McCarthy, D.H. Lawrence.
And I tended to fall out of love with those writers pretty quickly. Just, I read all the books and then read a biography and then be like, oh no.
I didn't read until I was 11 years old, so my favourite writer is actually my first writer that I ever read, and that would be Dodie Smith's 101 Dalmatians. Not the most literary, but at the same time has to be still my favourite book.
No one obscure. Someone like Roald Dahl I loved reading as a child, and I have distinct memories of listening to Matilda audiobooks from the library before bed. How has he influenced me? Roald Dahl isn't very nice when he describes people, and I wonder if I might have picked up that sense of satire or satirical edge, let's say.
Guilty pleasure is definitely Terry Pratchett. Love Terry Pratchett. He's funny. He's thoughtful. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but I love Terry Pratchett.
I can't really say that I've got a favourite writer. I just love reading.
I do remember when I was about 13 or 14, Miranda July's collection of short stories, No One Belongs Here More Than You. I was really in love with that book. And I remember there was a short story in that collection about a young woman who is teaching her neighbours, I think, to swim, but they're learning in an apartment, like on dry land, as a way of like working up to swimming in water. So they're trying to conquer their fear without confronting the thing. I remember those stories really stayed with me, and I used to reread that collection all the time. I guess I was influenced by like how wonderfully she puts her characters in these absurd situations that are quite like condensed and concentrated in her prose, but that really kind of illustrate the general absurdity of being a human being.
And the books are not what influenced me to write. It was a way of saving my life. By writing, I lost my old life and found a new life.